Jeff, you're muted.
Oh, okay. Well, let me start over again. Thank you very much for warning me. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for LinkedIn Tuesday. It's August 15th, 2023. Please note this event is being recorded. It's currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just enter them in the chat window. And as our speaker takes a break, we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. For those watching on Facebook, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Any questions you've got, just put those in the comment field and we'll be sure to get those asked to our speaker. Also, LinkedIn, it's all about connecting with other people. It's all about networking. Feel free to put in your contact information into the chat window. Tell us what you're looking for, your title, a couple target companies, your LinkedIn profile, and you should connect with everybody else who's here on the call today. Expand your connections. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org, a website to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I always have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. That group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team known as the PIC Crew. Remember, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, they're not going to get you a job. What they will get you is a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. So for more information, just go to dallaspicrew.com, and I'll talk more about the North Dallas group and the PIC Crew at the end of this session. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis. Today, our speaker is Locke Alderson. He was career consultant and recruiting consultant, a recruiter for many, many years, more than 10. I'll just stop there. And today, Locke's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. So Locke, thank you for being with us, and it's all yours.
Well, let's see if we can get it started, Jeff. Am I up?
You're up. You should be able
to. Okay, for those who don't know me, my name is Locke Alderson. I've spent 42 years in recruiting.
Oh, we don't see your slide deck.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Yep.
I will try and move me out of the way, but that is my bio that's up there. I spent 42 years in recruiting, retired in 2010, actually in 2011. I guess that should be one more year there. I did one search in 2011 with companies, some of those companies like Oracle and Siebel, and here in Dallas with E-Systems, it's merged into Raytheon. Out in California, when the Continental Airlines was out there, I was with them, with Litton Data Systems and Rockwell Microelectronics. So that's kind of my background. Then in 2010, I got asked to join, asked by my church to do a career transition workshop, which I did and with other career transition workshops for until 2013. And then in 2013, I got approached by Mullen International, an outplacement firm out of New York. They had just won the contract for JP Morgan Chase away from Right Management, and they needed 60 consultants in 60 days. I joined them along with several others here in the Dallas area. When the contract with JP Morgan Chase was renegotiated, Mullen decided to sell to Lee Heck Harrison. So everybody in the Dallas office was laid off, and a month later I was picked up by Lee Heck Harrison, where I stayed for 2 years until I retired at the end of 2019. I had some shoulder surgery that summer. But my last check with Lee Heck Harrison was only $15, so I felt it's about time to hang it up. I still work with those in job and career transition. And people have asked why I do that, and why I probably might have asked Jeff that same question. And I do it because so many people have given back to me when I've been in job hunting mode, And actually, that's about 6 times in my career, and I'm not counting the times the contracts came to an end, you had to find a new contract. So that's my background. One additional thing about me that you'll find out is I rely on scripture as a source of encouragement during those times of search and looking for a job when things look bleak. And I know when I came to Texas with Moscheck, we interviewed with 19 companies and only one said, "We love you and we'd like to have you come join us." So that's kind of discouraging when you get right down to it. But one verse from Jeremiah says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future." So I do that. I was in the Psalms today as I'm studying David. So that's another thing. Psalms is another good source for daily inspiration. So what are we talking about with LinkedIn? Why LinkedIn? You want to look at that? I want to take a look at your profile. Why is that so important? What is your headline and open to work section? How about your dashboard, which is now used to be called, it used to be I think it's dashboard, now it's called analytics. And the about section. The about section used to be your summary, but LinkedIn, when it was purchased by Microsoft, has continued to make changes, some of them almost weekly. So it keeps it's hard to keep up with all the changes that are there. And your professional work history, what needs to be there, and then your skills and endorsements. I know I picked up another recommendation just last week from somebody that I'm working with at another networking group. And how do you go about optimizing your profile? Because the part of job hunting is getting found, so that the first part of the presentation is aimed at helping you get found on LinkedIn. And your profile is the first thing that people see when they pop it open. Then we want to take a look at how recruiters search. Again, one of the things that do both executive recruiters like Kurt Vandemotter, who does a presentation, an excellent one on what executive recruiters look for. Ruth Lipke is with Leah Harrison. I worked with Ruth, and she was kind of my mentor when I first went with LLH. And so she does it from the standpoint, how do you drive people to your profile? And then how do you search for jobs? Some job alerts and what that means in the job filters. And then a little bit of homework for you afterward. I know I suggested some things to the guy that sent me the recommendation last week. And I had worked with him back in 2020, and he was amazed at the number of things that had changed, the things that he could do to beef up his profile. So that's what we want to talk about. So why LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn is probably the number one tool in the recruiter's toolbox. It's grown from a small networking tool for sales and marketing people to over 850 million members worldwide. 170 million of those are in the United States, and it's free. So again, there are paid versions like the premium version for regular users, and then for recruiters, there's a recruiter package which Kurt Vandemotter signs up for that, and I think he pays $10,000 for a seat, and he has 2 seats for his firm. And then another person that I'm working with, she has the Recruiter Lite, which is only $5,000 a year, okay, which doesn't cover all the world. But that's why it's used for that. And if recruiters use it at any point in time, there's 1,400,000 recruiters on LinkedIn on each day. And one comment that a LinkedIn user had found, he said, LinkedIn has been an irreplaceable tool in my job search. The ability to show employers the exact experience and skills that I have on my profile, exactly what helped me get the job. And I will add that in your profile, you in the about section, which is your summary, or not about section, in your employment section, or your about section, you have 2,000 characters to play with. And most resumes have a short summary statement at the top, or short statement that you can work with. So again, there's a vast difference of what you can say, and we'll take a look at that. And likewise, the employment section is open. You have 2,000 characters to play with in that area. So some of the things that you can do with LinkedIn. Well, taking a look at LinkedIn all starts with your profile, okay? And again, your profile, what people see. This is an old profile for mine. You notice I've got a banner shot back there in the back. Jeff has got a slightly different one. He may show that at the end of the presentation if we have time. And you'll notice under my name, the summary section there, used to be 144 characters, and LinkedIn upped it to 220. I've used a pipe character there, which is a shift key above the enter key on your keyboard, and separate that with a blank space on either side. Same thing if you're going to use a backslash, separate with a blank space on either side. If you link it and don't put that together, put them together, that will not be a searchable term when recruiters or hiring managers do a search on LinkedIn. On this one, I've got the open to work section open. Again, it's something we want to talk about as well, and why. It gives you the opportunity to have additional is the only thing that somebody sees. What does it say about you? Does it capture the essence of what a recruiter is looking for, what they care about? I've got to note that my internet is unstable, so bear with me if I flip in and out, okay? So what about LinkedIn? Well, first you want to do with your LinkedIn, you want to complete all your sections in the LinkedIn for an all-star status. That's the top rating. They used to have a pie chart that showed how much of your profile that you filled in, and all-star was the top. I think they've deleted that now, but anyway, you want to fill in every section on your profile because each section has a value, and when a search is conducted, the values tend to add up along with your activity on LinkedIn. If you're on it daily, it counts more than if you're on it once a month or once a week. You want to use a professional headshot and a background photo or banner photo that you can use to describe who you are, give some interest to your profile. Your headline should use the job title of the position that you're applying for. It doesn't have to be the title that you currently hold. It's going to be the one that you aspire to as well. And you have a chance in your headline to list multiple job titles. The open to work section underneath your headline, you can list additional titles. You can also list whether or not you're open to relocation, whether you want to work on site or remote or hybrid. Those are some things that recruiters are interested in today's economy, particularly after COVID, although many companies are insisting that candidates come back to work. Complete your about section. It's your summary. I've seen some about sections that are 4 lines. You're shortchanging yourself big time if you don't use it to describe you. It should be an overview of your career using keywords from your profession. Your contact information. Again, this gentleman I worked with had his contact information at the bottom of his about section. If all I see is the first 3 lines of your about section and we're not linked, first degree connection, I may not be able to see your contact information, particularly if you haven't opened up your contact information settings so that everybody can see your contact information, your email and your telephone number. So put it at the first line of your about section. It can also be elsewhere in your profile. You can have it multiple times. Make it easy for that recruiter or hiring manager to pick up the phone and call you or to send you a text or an email. The experience section should be your job title. If you've got an unusual job title, you want to make the one that's generally recognized in industry in parentheses. Add a description of your duties and results. You want to keep that fairly short, maybe 4 or 5 lines, and then include some key words from your professions. If you don't know where the keywords are, take a look at the jobs that you're applying for. Take a look at the requirements down there. Those are some of the keywords that they're looking for in your profile. Allows you to list 50, and we want to take a look at that as well. Endorsements, used to be that they could just check box if you had a skill in that area. Now it's a little bit more detailed. And the next thing you want to do is your education award, certification, and professional development. Too many profiles and resumes that I've reviewed simply talk about somebody's education when they got their degree. They don't talk about awards that they may have achieved or certifications or any courses in professional development, like using LinkedIn for job hunting. So those some kinds of things are things that you want to keep. It shows that you're keeping up with technology in your field. Recommendations from coworkers are invaluable, and poor bosses said, Lee, used to be a letter of reference, and now if you get a recommendation, you can actually post it in your profile. Let's take a look at some profile again. What do you see when you get that right now? You notice that I've got open to work open in this particular one, got a background photo. I've got a headshot that my wife took of me. Again, you can use a more casual one, but make it look professional because that's what it's a professional networking site. Okay. So those are some of the things that you can do. The other thing you can do on your open to work, I've opened it up to all LinkedIn members. If you're in stealth mode, possibly still working and knowing that your company's going to be laying off people, you may want to just limit that to recruiters. But remember, not all recruiters sign up for the LinkedIn, the Recruiter Lite or Recruiter software licenses. So I know I never did when I was a recruiter, and that was probably covered about 15 years that I was on LinkedIn. Well, let's take a look at some headlines. Unemployed and retired are truthful, but they are the most positive things that you can say. Somebody is retired and want to ask, well, why would I want to go to work? Okay. Unemployed, again, you may be between jobs, but it's not the most positive thing. It has some negative connotations. But what can you do to overcome that? Seeking a new opportunity is a little bit stronger. VP, formerly VP of Finance, again, says VP of Finance, but what's that tag on it formally? How long have you been out of work is a question that automatically pops up in a recruiter's mind. Okay. Experienced digital design engineer seeking a new opportunity. Again, more descriptive, but not descriptive enough. What industry? What kinds of technologies the person used. Social media strategist and content manager seeking new opportunity in print and digital is kind of a shorthand for print and digital media. Okay, where have your ads appeared? Public relations, again, an acronym there. Marketing and corporate communications. A little bit more descriptive information about somebody and what they do. This one is particularly short, and again, most of these are shortened to get them down onto the screen for one slide. Supply chain, procurement, and purchasing, pretty descriptive of the areas of expertise this candidate has. Might click further if we're looking for somebody like that. But you could add other things like logistics, or what kind of supply chain. It could be medical supplies, it could be electronics, some of the things like that. Accounting has a number of different ones. Senior accountant, again, GL, general ledger, it could be AP or AR, accounts payable, accounts receivable, financial reporting and cost. Describe you, because when we look for somebody with just an accountant background and don't put anything else in the search, you'll see what comes up. Again, all kinds of people are there. So you want to differentiate yourself with your headline. So add a little bit more details. Executive assistant budgeting and event planning. If I do a search in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are about 40,000 executive assistants. So describe the other duties that somebody had that might set them apart. Works for the CEO, okay? I work for the executive office, okay, of 10 executives. IT project manager, again, a short one, but has some key buzzwords. ITIL, which is a certification, Scrum Master, and Agile, okay? Again, tells something an IT recruiter would probably look further, click further on that particular one to see where they've done those things. Arouse somebody's curiosity. And lastly, general manager, manufacturing aerospace. Again, for an executive level position, who's worked in manufacturing and aerospace. Tie those two together. Another thing that you can do with headlines now is to add additional information with the additional characters that you can add: accomplished, award-winning, certified. And we'll take a look at one of my profile after I updated it in just a second. Use titles that can be found on LinkedIn's list of titles. Remember I mentioned, if you have an unusual title, that's not probably the job title that you want to have underneath your name. Design engineer is better than member of technical staff 3, because member of technical staff 3 doesn't tell anything unless the recruiters work for that industry and in that company. What value you bring, specialize in. Those are some things that you can add. Again, anybody that wants the slide deck, my name is Locke Alderson, LOCKEALDERSON at gmail.com. Just send me a note that you saw it on Career DFW, and I'll be happy to send you the whole slide deck. This is taking a look at a before and after on my profile, just the headshot that you see. Again, notice that it's there, background photo. Again, it's an older one. I changed it and updated it. Notice I put the pipe character in, but I added some adjectives to describe accomplished recruiting consultant, successful executive recruiter. When I was with Oracle Corporation, in addition to a full desk as a professional recruiter, they also taught me 16 executive searches, which I successfully completed. Okay, recruiting consultant, all my experience in career consulting with Mullen International, Lee Heck Harrison, and speaker at workshops and seminars. I will have 22 years at that, starting up in September. Again, so those are some things that you can add to your profile. Again, some other descriptive headlines that you can take a look at. Accountant, notice that they added some descriptive information: increasing productivity, created value through strategic strategies that resulted in increased sales by 40%. Now, remember, this is a marketing person talking about sales, but some jobs, some companies are marketing and sales are synonymous. Product manager, specialized in expansion of international business and aerospace. Again, pretty descriptive, pretty narrow, narrows it down about somebody who's a program manager, a product manager. Product manager, there are about 40,000 in the Dallas area alone. So director of customer relations. Okay, what does that involve? The ITIL manager, getting able to explain high tech to customers. Again, that's vital. Having been with Oracle and with Siebel, explaining what your product does to hiring to client managers is vitally important. And the business analyst who's able to take that and narrow that gap between techies and management, and able to gather the requirements from the customer and translate it for the techies in the background that are doing the software modifications. Next section I want to take a look at is the open to work section. It's there under your headline, and you can check out the first time that you can do it. What kinds of work are you open to? Again, as you start to add those, you notice some others. I started to add career, and there's a drop-down menu with some intelligence. You can collect those. Select one of those. If you start to enter a job title that's not in their list of titles, it won't allow you to add it. So that's something to remember. And again, you can talk about where you want to work, on-site, hybrid, or remote. Again, most of my time with Oracle Corporation, I think I visited the Oracle office in 4 years. I visited the Oracle office over in Las Colinas about 6 times. I worked from home or remote. And where you want to work, job location. This is an area where if you're open to relocation or want to relocate, this is what you can tell them. And again, another thing, I'm actively applying. Low-hanging fruit, more information that the recruiter has, the more likely are they to get in touch with you. Again, your dashboard or the analytics area now, this is how many times people have taken a look at your profile views. Again, the important one is over on the right, the search appearances. So I appeared in 160 search appearances, but only 83 of them took a look at my profile. So again, that tells you that something in the search got it in the search, but it didn't attract their attention when they looked at the thumbnail sketch of my background. Okay, actually looked at my profile. The other there that you can talk about is the features section. All of my presentations are there. I've got to update these. I think the most recent one I've got is 2021. I need to update with more recent presentations that I've done. But you can also include your resume there if you want. But remember, if you include your resume there, it's pretty static. It's not tailored to the company's requirements. What you may want to do, you may not want to put a resume there. You may want to simply put a bio like I've got on my opening slide of what you've done. The other area that I mentioned, go back that search appearances, when you click on that, this will be what it shows, the keywords that the searchers used and where they work. Now, those companies listed on the left may not be people that have an current opening, okay? But they have people with your kind of work or your kind of background. In this case, where they're using the word recruiter, not too sure whether they were looking for a recruiter for their company or whether they were looking for a recruiter to help them with their company, to find a job. So I was in a little bit of a unique situation like that. But those are those companies on the left, maybe companies that you want to do particular searches on to see what they have in terms of your field and openings when we get to a company search. The next one, let's take another look at the About section. These are some things that you can talk about in your About section. Notice the first line has an email address. Now, this is a little bit longer About section. I normally recommend, as Terry Sullivan does, 3, 4, 5 lines and break it up because we're used to reading 3 or 4 lines at a time and then move on to something else. But because he's used bolding to highlight, it's a pretty well-written description. And again, he's spelled out financial planning and analysis, good recruiting and financial types, understand what FP&A is. But if you use an acronym, spell it out the first time. Make it easy for the recruiter to understand what you're doing, because the person reading your profile may not know the AMA doesn't mean American Medical Association, it means American Marketing Association. And both of them, if you look in the older versions of Webster's Dictionary in the back, they'll have all those abbreviations in there to look at. There are about 20 of them for AMA, including American Motorcycle Association. Here are some other ones in sample summaries. Again, one thing about the summary is you can use first person. That's not recommended for resumes, but here is first person. I'm grateful to be a partner with many world-class award-winning companies, more descriptive of who they are and what they did in executive coaching and leadership development. And then the things that they've done down here, okay? And where they've worked, the relevant experience at Disney, okay? And then I'm a strategic, creative, hands-on marketer with a passion for opportunity technology creates for business. Again, I would have added a result or two in there, what that creativeness and strategic aspect added, what the details were. They've certainly got the space with 2,000 characters to play with. Move on to the employment section, the experience section. You generally want your job title, the company names and dates. Again, your duties and responsibilities. Try and limit your duties and responsibilities to 3 to 5 lines for each job, okay? And bullet areas of experience, of expertise, or your accomplishment. In this case, because I worked for Oracle, that icon is someone that LinkedIn will pull in by that. Okay, I was a senior recruiter there for a little over 4 years. Again, the 4-line description is there. I was supporting the Oracle Consulting Organization. was with Oracle products and Siebel products. Okay. Again, I was twice selected, a couple of highlights, as Recruiter of the Quarter for the most hires, selected among 50 recruiters to attend the consulting organization annual club meeting in the Bahamas, which was nice. And I also included something that was a little bit unusual, the email from my former boss at Oracle, Amanda Gill, who was Senior Director of Recruiting for Oracle North America. Again, talks a little bit more about you, feels a little bit more about who you are. As we move on to another section of LinkedIn, you can add other sections. Two that are worth mentioning, I think, one of which is to add your current position if you're unemployed. That kind of looks like this. This is for a software application developer. Just put the job title that you're looking for, where your experience is, what you're looking for a full-time position, okay? And the company, and instead of the company, you're putting the opportunities in the financial services industry. It could be in any other field that you want, but it gives some description of where you're looking and that you're looking in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Notice as I start to type in Dallas, okay, it starts to fill in with a metro, with a drop-down menu with some artificial intelligence. Okay, and you want to select one. Got to remember with DAL, there's also a Dallas, Georgia and a Dallas, Oregon. So think about that. If you're particularly in a project-oriented or project manager, you may want to describe the position that you had. Okay, what was it about? What were the dates? What was involved? Okay, that you can do. Project managers and product managers, I can add information, particularly true in IT, information technology consulting. With Oracle and with Siebel, we looked at a lot of people from the consulting organizations. Well, this was a way that people could put that on their profile, because I know I looked at a lot of resumes when I was with Oracle, people who'd been consultants, and their resumes could run 8, 9, and 10 pages because they devoted a page to each project. What was involved? What was the hardware or the software? Okay, how many people? How long was the project? How many lines of code was involved? Moving on to skills and endorsements. Okay, you have 50 skills that you can add. Okay, Oracle will choose 3 for you. As you start to add skills, notice the ones that are here, you can just click on that. If you again type in one that's not there, that's not in LinkedIn's directory, if you will, it will not let you add that one. So you can add that. Now, the other thing about that is LinkedIn will choose the 3 best ones for you if you don't choose the 3 for yourself. So how do you go about choosing the ones that you want? Well, let's take a look at that. Okay, when you see the 3 dots under skills and endorsements, these were executive search, consulting, and talent acquisition for me. I checked on these 3 dots out, let's take a quiz, skills quiz, and that's something else that LinkedIn has added. In certain fields, LinkedIn has added that you can take a skills test, and usually it's 15 questions. You have to score at least a 70% to get it as a certification. If you don't get 70%, it will allow you to take it one more time to get that 70%, or you're barred from taking it for, I think it's for 1 year. But if you click on those 3 dots that are up there, it will allow you to reorder the skills and endorsements. And you can push your cursor over here to these, hold it down, and drag and drop it to the position that you want. And notice these numbers here are the endorsements that I've had for all of these different areas of my career. But when you've done that, you can do that. Now let's take a look at other people's profile. Now, why would I want to take a look at someone else's profile rather than mine? Well, if you do a profile search, as I did on this one for a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area using people, turned out there were 26,000 people when I did this search a couple of years ago that had the word recruiter in their profile. And if you're not appearing in the first 10 screens, that's 100 thumbnail sketches, you might want to pop open a couple of these to see what words they're using and take some of those words and plug them into your profile if they apply. So that's something that you can do that will help you out in that situation. Okay, and that's it. Other selections, and look at the words that they're using. This is just taking a look at one of those people, Renee Lane, as a senior recruiter. She was a 2nd-degree connection with me. She has a good background. Her background photo, banner photo, doesn't really tell me a lot. It's kind of interesting, but it really doesn't tell me about her recruiting experience. But she's a senior recruiter. She's open to work, so she's checked that box. And she has highly accomplished, dedicated talent acquisition specialist with 15 years of experience in both the staffing agent, the agency side, and the corporate environment, seeking senior level talent acquisition recruiting roles. So she's looking for a job. So that's what one looks like when you pop one open to see what you can have. Well, let's move it a step further and take a look at job hunting. How do LinkedIn run searches? How do recruiters actually search? There is a little bit of difference. Recruiters search results and searching for jobs from job alerts and filters. Well, recruiters look for, as I said, each section of your profile has a value, as well as your activity on LinkedIn. Your search ranking is based on the sum of these values. The higher scores appear at the top of the list of the results that are taken. So what are recruiters really looking for? Generally looking for a match of these: job titles in your current and past jobs, in your headline section, your open to work section, your about section, and your employment sections. The more times that you have recruiter in there, the higher the ranking if somebody's looking for a recruiter. Career consultant is not so much in mine, but in some of my experience, it shows up that way. Okay, so job titles is the first thing that they look at. Keywords and skills. If you know the keywords of your profession, again, use them in your profile, just like you want to use them in your resume, and your skills. Industries and specific companies. Sometimes there are certain industries like healthcare. If you don't have healthcare experience, it's hard to break into that field. Okay, so that's one that's difficult. I know when I went to work for the telephone company one summer, telephone company job fell into two categories. One where they had expertise, like engineering, and all the other management where you plug in somebody from just about everywhere. I was plugged into a union shop manager or union manager job with people who were members of the union that I had to schedule their work assignments. Education. People look at the education as well. They look at your pedigree. And they look at your geographic region. The reason they look at geography is most candidates have told recruiters that they don't want to drive more than 20 to 25 miles to work. So recruiters and most job boards have picked that up, limit the search to 25 miles, and that's what the default setting is on most of the job boards. Current and prior companies and your length of service. Well, length of service used to be somebody who had a year or less on experience was called a job hopper. That's less true today with what's happened with COVID and the follow-on things from COVID. Then recruiters take a look at your summary and your experience. Well, let's take a look at, this is the screen that I got from Kurt Vandemodel's presentation. It's an older one. There were only 710 million people in the worldwide on LinkedIn at that time. But you notice he has three screens that he can fill in the population with: job titles, locations, skills and assessment, companies, schools, year of graduation, and industries. And he can check those. With those checked, he can do about a 10-minute, about 3 minutes. He can check the boxes there and narrow that 700 million down to about 70 candidates if he wants to, if his search is specific enough. So what do a recruiter actually look at on a CV? This one, I don't recommend. Recruiter put in accountant. Now notice that he had accountant, he didn't put in a location. So this is 4,281,000 in the United States. It defaults to the United States if you don't put something in. It's also not very specific. He doesn't have to have anything. He could be anyone from a junior accountant right out of a school to a CFO. Somebody has accountant or accounting in their profile. So that's not a very good search from a recruiter standpoint, evaluating a recruiter working for you. You want to tell them to narrow it down, be more specific. This is one for a product manager. I think it was product manager in Seattle. Again, for this one, there were 6,900 candidates. Not too bad, not too many. But again, they were looking in greater Seattle. They'd consider somebody from the Bay Area. And they will also consider people with product marketing, product management. Those two terms are often used interchangeably. They wanted somebody with competitive analysis. Companies, I just happened to list some companies from the Seattle area, not limited to that, but those are ones that are headquartered up there. And schools, just happened to add University of Washington, which is headquartered up there. Now let's take a look at another search. This one was in Chicago for a project manager. Again, project managers in most regions of the company are going to draw large numbers of candidates. This one had almost 43,000. But notice this other one, open to new opportunities, open to work. Only 83 people had checked that box. That's the one that most recruiters are going to take a look at first. Okay. And have you followed a company, engaged in their brand, have company connections to work there? Again, this was Chicago. They took somebody from New York or San Francisco. They wanted business strategy in addition to analytics. Okay. They also listed Northwestern, which is just north of Chicago. They look at some companies like Google, Facebook, Evernote, LinkedIn, okay, or some that are there. Meta, well, Facebook is now Meta, So you know how old that is. So that's something that you can take a look at. Well, let's move on and take a look at another one. As you do a job search, you have two choices. You can do the main search bar, or you can drop down to the jobs tab here and enter a job and a location. If you just enter a job title and have not been searching and haven't entered the location, and again, it's going to default to the United States. So let's take a look at some actual searches that I've done. Okay, this one is for a sales representative because I didn't click a location that defaults to the United States. And there were almost 200,000 candidates. So one of the things that you want to do is to use the filters tab. Okay. The first one I look at always is to narrow it down unless you have a very unusual skill set. And there aren't very many of you in the whole country. You want to limit the search. Anything dated over a week has probably been filled or had plenty of candidates. But let's take a look at another one. This was for senior accountant in Plano. Again, no, within 25 miles. I narrowed it down by doing that, and the date posted 25 miles to 144 jobs for a senior accountant. Okay. But let's take a look at those filters as I mentioned. This is something that LinkedIn picked up from Indeed.com. I mentioned past week. Again, when I did Recruiter in Dallas, there were openings that were 2,087. Again, you got to remember that sometimes recruiters, I won't say are lazy, but they get busy and forget to take a job down that's already been filled. Okay, sometimes recruiters do leave openings online because they're looking to fill those kind of candidates all the time. I know when I was with Oracle, I was always searching for consultants anywhere in the country because I was looking for road warriors. Again, picked up from Indeed.com as a salary estimate. Again, this is not an actual unless it's actually posted in the job, and some of them are these days, and that's required in some states, California and New York. Okay. Again, I want to mention easy access. If you've got your resume on LinkedIn and it says easy access and you want to apply that way, well, take your resume from there or your profile. If it doesn't allow you to upload a resume, if you're going to use easy access, make sure that you can upload a resume that's customized to the job. Again, most jobs on LinkedIn are going to be full-time. There are going to be some contract positions for contract recruiters. I'm on the list and I probably still get 3 or 4 a week. For that, part-time positions are available. Interns are frequently summer interns. I know if you go at SMU working on an MBA, the summer between your first year and second year, everybody has an internship, and most of those lead to job openings. Again, you can narrow location because I had on this one Dallas County. You could narrow it down to North Dallas with Richards and Irving and Carrollton, and not go to South Dallas like Grand Prairie and places like that. But that's what you can do with that, and you don't have to click the apply, but you can do it that way. Okay, let's take a look at some other jobs. This is one I did for the American Quality Association Dallas meeting. They asked me to do a presentation. Quality assurance in Dallas. I just put general quality assurance of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex for about 1,900 open positions. Again, I hadn't, that's in the past week. So I had narrowed it down a little bit from that. And I wanted somebody, this was a quality inspector. Could anybody with quality assurance in their profile will get selected with it? Everybody from an inspector all the way up to a quality assurance director. So I added another word, manager in this case, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It took it down to 174 positions in the past week. So you notice that, and you can do, when you have applied some of these filters, you can do a reset, which will take you back to your original search. You don't have to recreate the search every time. This is one, again, where I didn't put in the Dallas, this is for executive assistant, Dallas-Fort Worth area. I notice here's that Dallas, Georgia that I was talking about. Again, there were 90 jobs, 960 jobs because I hadn't refined it. Okay, but there are about 26,000 or more in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This was for a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and this is one of the things that you want to do when you're looking for a recruiter in Plano, Texas. You might want to turn the job alert button on, and it will give you the option to receive daily or weekly all of the listings that are there. And they will send them, they usually come in about between 7 and 8 in the morning. You can take a look at those, and it's a good idea to do that because jobs frequently fill up in a hurry. A friend, Gail Houston, who's now with Grail, she was with EDS and then we'll work with Intuit. When she posted a position for a project manager, when she was EDS, she had 300 within the first hour and removed the posting. Okay? So that's what you can do. But this is what it looks like once you clicked on that radio button and moving it to the right. Some homework for you to take home. Complete each section of your profile. Okay, and why you want to do that? Because it adds values to your profile when searches are conducted. Use the name that you want to be called by. My legal name is John Locke Alderson Jr. When I went to the doctor this morning, I'm listed as John Alderson. And so I sometimes name preferred as Locke, because that's what I go by. Frequently when the telemarketers call and they ask to speak to John Alderson, I say, which one? And they say senior, and I say, well, he's not been with us for about 20 years now. So I like to play around with that, but that's an example of why you want to use the name that you want to be called by. Headline, list the job title or titles of the positions you're looking for. Not including a headline. It's going to default the last job title in your employment section. Okay. Complete the open to work section below the headline. It gives you the opportunity to list 5 additional jobs and lets recruiters know that you're open to opportunities, that you can work remote or hybrid or on site, that you're willing to work in another part of the country. In your about section, include your phone number and email on the first line of your about section. Make it easy for the hiring manager, the recruiter, to get hold of you. The employment section, employment names, job titles, duties, measurable results. Again, add those, keep the duties to 3 or 4 lines and add some measurable results. What did you accomplish when you were there? What's the significance of that accomplishment? Okay. Add keywords from your profession, include the skills, and choose the ones that you want rather than the ones that LinkedIn has chosen for you. And do a people search on you. And if you aren't showing up on those first 10 screens, take a look at some of those other people's thumbnail sketches. Take out some of the descriptive words and include them in your profile. My email address is lockealderson@gmail.com, and that's how you can reach me. Okay.
Locke, thank you very much. We've got a couple questions here. Deborah asked, what do you think of adding all of your skills and keywords in the about section? Makes it long, but does it help recruiters find you?
Okay. Well, let me see if I can get that open. Let me see if I can open me up on. No.
If you're having issues, let me know and I can always do it myself.
Is that showing up?
Not yet.
Well, I don't know why it's not showing up. Here it is. Let's try this one.
There we go. I think, there we go. Yeah, you've got a big thing here in the middle of it, I guess.
Yeah, Liam wants me to join. Okay. Well, let's take a look at my profile for a quick minute. What did I do, Jeff?
I think you opened up a new window. Yeah, you opened up a brand new window. You probably want to close that. You go back to your 3rd tab.
3rd tab. There we go. Okay, well, let's take a look at me for a quick second. And the question was, while we're doing that, here's my background photo, the highlight. Again, I've done that. I'm not open here because I'm not looking for a job right now. Okay. 124 searches, actually 129 people have peeked at my resume or my profile. Okay. These are some other things that you can turn. The about section, let's connect with my address, because that's the first line that people see. Notice from the slides that I did, these are the more recent presentations that I've done. I've got to update that slide shot. The activity level that I'm speaking here today. Here's my professional experience, okay? Alderson and Associates, which I've had as my business for a number of years, is dormant, okay? I work with MEG Group, which is a networking group here in Dallas for executives. I was with Career Transition Workshop. I think the last one we had was the summer of 2020 or September. Lee Heck Harrison, the Dallas Fort Worth Career Focus Group, And notice that there are 14 other experiences. I want to show something about that because my experience with Oracle is linked to my experience with Siebel because they were acquired company. I don't know whether it does that with E-Systems and with. No, it doesn't pick it up that way. But notice the other thing that I can talk about. That's my about section. Notice that there are 5 lines to describe here on my experience, okay? And the work experience, the accomplishments that I had there, and then the information from Amanda Gill. Okay. Let's take a look at somebody's profile. Jeff, or did we answer the question?
You really didn't. You really didn't answer those questions. I tell you what, can you pop me up, take a look at my profile and open up my about section? There we go.
Okay. Okay, Jeff's got his contact information at the top in his background photo. He's done a word picture or word cloud there. He's also got the book that he mentioned. If you haven't read that book, it's a good $15 purchase on Amazon. It's well worth the price. It's the best short description of things that you need to cover. It's kind of like my homework section for you, okay? He's got what he's doing and what he's looking for, okay? His about section, Jeff Boris.
Okay, go ahead and open that up for a second, because I mean, this I think will answer Deborah's question. She talked about adding keywords, and what you see there at the very, very bottom, that's why I put all the keywords that are also in the profile someplace, but they're there a second time so that if somebody's looking for something, hopefully they'll find it.
The more times that you have it there, the higher the ranking when they're looking for job titles with those words in them.
So in this case, Deborah, you've got 2,200 characters or something like that. If you've got this, as long as you told people at the beginning of your about section what it is you do,
okay,
feel free at the bottom, fill it up with keywords.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of the profiles that I've looked at maybe have 5 lines or 10 lines. And what Jeff has not done, and I'll fuss at him a little bit, but only because it's not there and it's something I recommend. He's got his contact information down here. But it's also up here in his profile, in his banner shot. But I do recommend that you put your contact information in the first line of your about section. Make it easy for me to call you. Okay, somebody else, Jeff.
Right. Let's see here. I think that answered those questions there. Oh, a lot of the old skills 10 plus years ago with lots of endorsements, but I need to update the newer ones that have 0 endorsements. Quite frankly, endorsements for skills, I think, is a useless device on LinkedIn.
Okay. What you can do is to go down to your recommendations. I did that with a candidate I worked with last week. I'd worked with him originally in 2020. He gave me a recommendation there, but I'd worked with him for about an hour this last week. I said, well, do you mind sending a new recommendation? Well, he said, you've already got one for me. So I went to that recommendation back in 2020 and asked him to update the information to change it, which allowed him to make it a fresh recommendation. There's something to think about.
So if you've got an old recommendation from, 2014, 2016, 2018, reach that back out to that person and just ask them to do take this, add a space, add an extra period, do something, and it'll give you more information. Is there anybody out there who'd like us to look at your profile? Pop your name in or unmute your mic and let us know, and we'll take a look at your profile.
Yeah, this is Larry Hawkes. I'd be more than happy for you to look at my profile. It's Lawrence, Lawrence, Jaqus.
Okay, well, he's a second.
Is that you?
That's me.
Okay.
Okay,
I've already made one change based on what Locke said on the about section. I moved my contact to the top.
Great. You could do it all on one line.
I did it on 2 lines.
I know. But you can do
it. You put it on one line, it'll help bring up your first paragraph a little bit quicker.
Yeah. Again, remember when people pop open your profile, they only see 3 lines of your profile on the about section.
Okay,
You
I'll
want to
move
have
that.
lines 2 and 3 there, okay?
All right, I will move that right now as we're talking. It's very easy to do.
Okay. Open to work, senior. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 job titles there. I think you're allowed to put a 5th one in. So if you've got a 5th
You
one,
could put 5 in there. Okay, well, let's take a look further down. There's about section, okay? You haven't changed it because I haven't refreshed it, so you may have changed it. Okay. CAE is an aerospace firm out in Arlington. Are they? Yeah, they're the aircraft simulator. They pick up the old Hughes aircraft simulation group. Larry, Lars? Okay. Notice here he's picked up, because he had 2 jobs at Boeing, it picked up the 2 jobs that are there, and it will do that.
My question for Larry is he only had 1 job at the last place he worked at, or was he promoted were you promoted a couple times? Larry, something's gone wrong with your microphone. All we're hearing is Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse or the.
One thing about Larry's leadership, what skills level he's got leadership. I'm not somebody as a recruiter that typically recruits for leadership. So you might want to try some other word, systems architecture and electrical engineering. What are the other skills that you have? You have 50. Okay. So I might choose a couple other ones rather than leadership, even though that's important. Electrical design or avionics or aerospace.
Larry, we can't hear, you're all gibberish, so you're gonna have to type your answer in or type your question or your comment in. Something's gone wrong with your microphone.
Does somebody else want us to look at their profile or look for a job for them?
This is Lorenzo. I posted my stuff in the chat if you could look at mine next.
Lorenzo Jacobs, is it? No. Last name Lorenzo.
Jaqueus.
JAQ.
Yeah, the second one. And I go by Enzo. So yeah.
That's what threw me. Okay. Remember, that's what you want to put there, something to take a look at. Okay, now for Enzo, one of the things I'm going to do is look at his contact information. And this is the reason why I say, put your contact, open up. I cannot reach out to Enzo unless I go through somebody else, a first degree connection.
Yeah, you accidentally clicked on the link. Go back to your 3rd tab.
3rd tab.
Yeah, you opened up, no, go up higher. You opened up, you clicked on a link about him. Go back to your LinkedIn tab. There you go, that one.
Okay. Okay, so I cannot reach out to Enzo because I don't know how to get hold of him. His about section, though, he does have his about section, so I can reach out to him. Let's connect. Top skills, he's put out something that's up there as new. Machine learning. For anybody affiliated with artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and data science, this is the kind of guy that recruiters are looking for today. And they're paying him anywhere from 150,000 to 900,000. It was one of my feeds this morning for people with that kind of background. So he's in Atlanta area.
I relocated to the DFW area.
Okay.
Previous.
Okay, that's one of the things that you may want to put on there, that you're in the DFW area and some of the information that you've got.
Yeah, he's got it up there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So just to be aware of that kind of information, then, because that's the kind of things that people are looking for. Let's go down to his skills area. He's got a section for projects, which is good.
It's a
It's in
great
his
place
view.
to stuff extra keywords. Yeah.
He's also used his the volunteering section, which is something new. My volunteer experience is actually listed in my actual business, my professional work experience. You can do it either way. Okay. Data science, machine learning, digital signal processing. Those are all pretty good fields that you be in right now. And he's got 2 new recommendations. Again, if you want to have at least a couple recommendations for each year, the last couple of years, if you can. That's why you can go back and have a renewal on some of those.
All right. Well, Locke, we're just about out of time here. So
Okay. I'll
Let me
let you
just-
show your profile. Well, we've shown your profile already.
yeah, we did. Yeah, let me just share this here, that if you'd like to get the presentation that Locke did today, you can send him an email. Whoop, let's see here. Whoop, next slide. There we go. If you want Locke's slide deck, you can send Locke an email, lockealderson@gmail.com. Let him know you're looking for today's slide deck, and he will email that to you.
'Cause I did not include everything in there. There's some additional information about how you do job searches within companies, and how you do some networking there. That's the
Right.
4th section because I wanted to take a look at some people's profile.
Right. Next week, Terry Sullivan will be with us to talk about how to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. The session will not be recorded, so you will not be able to view it after the event. So if you want to watch it next Tuesday, you will need to watch it live, 1 o'clock Central Time. All right, if everybody will please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Thank you very much. You can put your hand down. The reason we talk about this is that I don't connect with anybody who sends me a generic invitation. When you click on a white connect button, you send the generic invitation automatically. So when that happens, click on the person's face, go to their profile. When you see a blue connect button, you can then connect with them when you're on a PC or a desktop computer, laptop, desktop. When you're on your cell phone, a blue connect button sends a generic invitation. You need to open up the 3 little dots that are off to the right-hand side, the submenu, and it'll allow you to send a personalized invitation. So just be aware of those. Always send a personal note. I'll connect with anybody who sends me a personal note. No personal note, sorry, not going to connect. All right, Career FW Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Tomorrow, the practice interview team will be meeting in person. So if you'd like to come join us tomorrow, Christ United Methodist Church, if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 3101 Coit Road. That's at Coit and Parker in Plano. From 1 to 3 o'clock, we have an interview scheduled. In fact, I'm going to be rehearsing. I'm going to be practicing, getting all ready to go here for I'll be one of the interviewers tomorrow. So come join us tomorrow, 1 p.m. There'll be no online session. Our next online session will be a week from Wednesday on August 23rd, that you'll be able to watch a practice interview. This Thursday, being the 3rd Thursday of the month, the top 10 mistakes of resume writing. Every Thursday, the first and third Thursdays, we talk about resumes. Tony Bashera, who is the owner and president and leader of Babbage and Associates, one of the oldest recruiting firms here in the Southwest, will be with us.
He's placed about 40,000 people over his 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, he sees 30, 40, 50 resumes a day that he's looking at. He looks at all his people's resumes, all the people who work for him. He wants to see them. So he will tell you, this is what it takes to get a job. So you can join us this Thursday, 1 o'clock. This Friday morning at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, Clifton Strength Finders. Brandy Shade will be with us to talk about Clifton Strength Finders. The meeting is in person, or you can join us on Zoom or Facebook Live. We'd really encourage you, if you can, come join us in person, because beside that, you'll get some really great networking time with other people. And we'll do a little bit of an open forum when the session's over with just to, help you out with anything you're having, any questions you've got about your job search. It's all those little extras that you can't get when you're online like this. If you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join one or both. You do not need to live in the DFW area to join the Career DFW group. We have over 14,900 members, and 1 out of 15 or 1 out of 20 of those members, they're in the recruiting business. They're joining the group because they're trying to find you. So make sure your LinkedIn profile is mostly complete, because if you're on LinkedIn, if your profile is not mostly complete while you're on LinkedIn, it's not helping anybody. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. I have over 530 videos up there right now. But if you click on playlist, it gets it down to 7 different playlists. If you click on LinkedIn, down at the very bottom where it says view full playlist, don't click on the video, click on if you click on the video, it'll be the last video that got posted. This one won't be up for a couple hours. It'll be 4 or 5 o'clock before Google gets to, or YouTube gets done doing whatever they do to get it up there. But if you click on view full playlist, up will come a list with the date and what the topic was, and you can go back and watch any one of these videos at your leisure. If you're not receiving emails about our workshop and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, just scan this QR code. It will automatically make an email. Just send a blank email. It doesn't have to have any text in it. Or you can just send an email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. What will happen is you'll get added to our mailing list. You will not be spammed, but what you will get every day is the topic of the day, the title of the day, and most importantly, the Zoom link of the day. That way, you can just open up the email and you can join us right away. So please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Locke's a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 15 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Have a great Thursday or a great Tuesday afternoon. Locke, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Hopefully we'll see you later in the week.